friends. My name is Brian Ewald, and I'm here today in Stevensville, Maryland at the PRS Guitars factory, and we're going to check out and have a look at the DGT 15 amplifier. It is a small but mighty 15-watt single-channel amp designed by senior amp designer Doug Sewell in close collaboration with longtime PRS artist David Grissom. David is a Texas-based musician with a storied career both as a solo artist, session player, and a sideman, not only well-loved for his incredible guitar playing, but also revered and respected for amazing guitar tones. Over the years, David has collaborated with PRS guitarists to design other products such as the coveted DGT guitar that I'm holding here. The story of the DGT 15 really starts with the design of the DG Custom 30 and 50 amplifiers. David and Doug Sewell painstakingly designed those amps together over the course of 3 years. Their goal was to build an amplifier that rivaled some of David's favorite vintage amps, with rich tones, tons of character, and something that really felt alive under your fingertips. Those types of amps really come alive at full volume. Now, 10 years later, we have the DGT 15, which can achieve those sounds at a more reasonable volume and at a more modest price point. Internally, this amp is driven by a pair of EL84 power tubes. It is tube rectified with a GZ34, and on the preamp side, we have three 12AX7s and a single 12AT7. Another way that the 15-watt version differs from the original DG Custom designs is by adding a gorgeous sounding tremolo and a boost function that is both a volume and gain boost, which is not only foot switchable, but also highly tweakable via several different mini toggles on the amp. All that said, sonically, to me, this amp just has a gorgeous three-dimensional overdrive sound, cleans up beautifully with your guitar volume, and the notes just absolutely bloom and explode out of the speakers. Having a quick look at the control panel, we have a input volume, standard tone stack of treble, middle, and bass controls, a master volume, reverb control, top cut and presence, and a speed and depth for the tremolo. The mini toggles, we have a mini toggle for our boost circuit, a bright switch, the master volume, which we'll explain more in a minute, and finally a mini toggle that controls the function of the tremolo. So where most PRS amps we recommend starting with all knobs at noon to get started, this is a completely different beast. I highly recommend starting off with the way David dials in his amp with the master volume completely wide open. It might be best to think of the master volume on this amp as a way to control the level between your boosted and non-boosted tones. The boost circuit on the amp, which is both a fixed gain and volume boost, was designed to give David something similar to the way he would run a boost pedal into his DG Custom amps, to take him from his baseline rhythm tones into more a harmonically rich lead tone. It is controllable with this first mini toggle, which lets you turn it on, off, or in the down position is controllable by the foot switch. The second mini toggle we have is for the bright switch. Of course, we can turn it on or off, but in the down position, we have a third very cool function where the bright switch can be disengaged as soon as the boost is engaged. The idea is David likes to have the bright switch on for his cleaner, chimier sounds, but sometimes when you step into the boost, it gets a little too bright. It's not unlike having a two-channel amp where you have independent bright controls for both channels. Our third mini toggle is to control the function of the master volume. In the up position, the master volume is on. In the middle position, the master volume is disengaged from the circuit, effectively like diming the amp all the way up, which is how David often runs it. In the bottom position, we get a really cool feature where the master volume is once again only engaged when the boost is engaged. As I mentioned before, that gives you the ability to control the output level of your boosted versus your unboosted sounds. And finally, the last mini toggle is for the tremolo. You can turn it on or off via the front of the amp, or of course in the down position, once again, using the foot switch. Adding trem to this amp is a feature I am super excited about. This is a gorgeous sounding trem. It's achieved by oscillating the bias to the power tubes. Gives it a great old school, very swampy feel with lots and lots of character. Although there is no mini toggle for it, of course the reverb is controllable via the foot switch. It's got a wonderful long decay and can go from soft, subtle tones all the way up to killer, springy surf sounds. Not only does the DGT-15 give you all kinds of cool options between the boost circuit and the mini toggles, the amp is incredibly functionally versatile, tonally, especially in the character of the top end. In addition to the bass and mid controls, this amp gives you 4 different ways to really sculpt the EQ of the higher frequencies. We have a treble control, a bright switch, a presence, and a top cut, which actually cuts some high end as you turn it clockwise. All combined, giving you great flexibility to fine-tune the tone to your playing, your guitar, and your playing environment. While the DGT-15 cleans up beautifully, even when overdriven, by rolling your guitar volume back, let's have a look at how to dial in a cleaner sound on the amp at full guitar volume. On the back panel of the amp, there's the jack to connect the foot switch. There are 4, 8, and 16 ohm speaker outputs, and although the amp is cathode and self-biasing, there are bias ports for monitoring and ease of serviceability. And this handsome head pairs perfectly with the PRS DGT 112 cabinet. It is also covered in the blonde Tolex and salt and pepper grill cloth and is loaded with a Celestion Vintage 30 speaker. It is a ported cabinet design, which to me is the best of both worlds between a closed and open back. You have the tightness and the punchiness of a closed back design, but without any boxiness. The DGT-15 was designed to give David Grissom everything he could possibly need, tonally and functionally, in one package, all at a volume that won't strip the paint off the walls. Whether you're a fan and trying to get David Grissom tones for yourself, or you're trying to find your own tone on a killer sounding and incredibly responsive vintage-inspired amp with features like boost, reverb, trem, the DGT 15 is a no-brainer. I definitely recommend checking one out for yourself. For more information or to find a dealer near you, please visit prsguitars.com. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you soon.